Why does Saturn have rings? What are the different types of clouds? How does an octopus swim? Why does a tiger have stripes? How do flowers grow?
Tell Me Why. The Video Encyclopedia is a reference work that's designed to show the answers to questions that young people ask. All materials used in this work are based upon the best-selling book series by Arkady Leokum.
What are birds?
Birds are warm-blooded, egg-laying, feathered vertebrates with forelimbs modified to form wings. It is known that birds developed from some primitive reptiles millions of years ago. Fossils have been found from the Triassic period of 130 million years ago. The first birds had feathered wings. The tails were long with many bones, and the feathers grew from each side. Prehistoric birds had many small, sharp teeth. Today, we can go over each part of the body of a bird and find traces of the time when they were reptiles, but each part has been adapted to the special needs of the bird. The most important change was from a cold-blooded to a warm-blooded animal. The eggs of the bird must be kept at a constant temperature, and the young have to be kept warm. As a result, most birds have to build nests, care for their young, and develop many other functions which are part of a bird's life today. Nature has done everything possible to make the bird a perfect flying machine. A bird has wings. The main flight feathers of the wings are attached to the bone of the outer arm by a tough cord of tissue called a sinew. The supporting flight feathers are attached to the upper arm bone the same way. Each feather has its own set of muscles so that the bird can control each feather in flight. On the upbeat of the wing, the mane and some of the supporting flight feathers are turned so that the edges are turned up. The air can pass easily between the feathers. On the downbeat, all the flight feathers have flat sides down. The air cannot pass through the wings. This is how the bird pushes himself into the air and takes off in flight. The large bones of a bird are hollow. Many of them have air sacs. The ribs are fused to make a firm support for the downbeat of the wings. The head, tail, wings, and legs are extremely light. A bird has a hollow beak. The strong muscles that move the wings are attached to the breastbone, bringing them closer to the center of gravity. Everything about the bird is designed to help it to fly. Feathers are merely another form of the substance that in some animals appears as hoofs, horns, and nails. A feather is made up of a tapering rod. The upper, more slender portion is called the shaft, and the lower portion is called the quill. The quill is hollow, and it is pierced at the tip with a hole through which nourishment passes during growth. The soft, fluffy feathers underneath are the down. The texture and size of the feathers which a bird has depends on the type of life that it leads. The feathers of the owl are soft and downy to enable it to fly quietly, but not swiftly. Those of the hawk are shorter and lie close to the body, so there is little resistance to the air. It can fly swiftly. Feathers of water birds are furnished with oil from special glands. This makes them waterproof.
Why do birds sing?
The bird songs we hear in the spring are part of the courtship of mating. The male uses his song to attract a mate. Birds have simple membranes which are located at the lower end of the windpipe in a structure called the syrinx. These membranes vibrate. Different families of birds produce different songs because the shape of this structure and the number of muscles which control them vary with different birds. Birds make other sounds besides singing. There are signals for alarms which all species recognize as meaning danger. Bird songs differ from each other in pitch, pattern, rhythm, and quality. Not all birds sing. The stork and the pelican have no voice at all. The mockingbird has a lovely and distinctive song of its own and seems to be proud of its ability to sing. It is sociable and trusting by nature and enjoys living near man. In the summer, the mockingbird is found all along the Gulf of Mexico coastline. The mockingbird makes its nest of string, rags, bark, feathers, and anything else that seems handy.
Why are male birds more colorful than female birds?
Birds with brighter colors spend most of their time in treetops, in the air, or on the water. Birds with duller colors live mostly on or near the ground. The upper parts of birds are darker in color than the underparts. Scientists believe that birds have colors for protection so that they can't be seen easily by their enemies. A snipe blends perfectly with the marshy grass where it lives. A woodcock's colors look like fallen leaves. The female needs the most protection in the bird species because she has to sit on the nest and hatch the eggs. Nature gives her duller colors to keep her better hidden from her enemies. The brighter colors of the male bird also help to attract the female during the breeding season. Birds can fly very fast. The peregrine falcon can fly at about 65 to 75 miles per hour. Ducks and geese can go about 65 to 70 miles per hour. The swift can reach 60 miles per hour. The blue jay moves slowly at 25 to 30 miles per hour. The two groups of flying birds that have the largest wing spread are the albatrosses and the condors. They may weigh up to 30 pounds. The wandering albatross has a wing spread of 11 to 12 feet. After that comes the king vulture with a wing spread of 9 to 10 feet. Our own bald eagle has a wing spread of 7 to 8 feet. Birds cannot hibernate. They can endure a very cold temperature. Even a little canary can survive outdoor temperatures of minus 50 degrees, providing it can find enough food. When it becomes cold, warm-blooded animals react by sending blood from the skin to the interior of the body, by erecting their fur or feathers to improve the insulation against cold, and then by shivering, which increases the heat production.
How do birds know when to migrate?
Despite years of study, scientists still don't understand exactly how migration starts each year. The ability of birds to find their way is amazing. One theory on how they do it is that the birds can sense the magnetic fields that surround the Earth. Magnetic lines of force stretch from the north to the south magnetic poles. The birds might direct themselves by these lines, but the theory has never been proven. For whatever reason they migrate, birds certainly are the champions of all migrating animals, and the champions among the birds are the Arctic terns. These amazing birds will travel in the course of a year going back and forth as much as 22,000 miles. The tern nests over a wide range, from the Arctic Circle to as far south as Massachusetts. It takes this bird about 20 weeks to make his trip down to the Antarctic region, and it averages about 1,000 miles a week. Most land birds make rather short hops during their migration. One bird, the American golden plover, makes a long non-stop flight over the open ocean. It may fly from Nova Scotia directly to South America, a distance of about 2,400 miles over water without a stop. Many birds, like geese, fly in formation at about 50 miles per hour. Airplanes fly in this formation too, so that each plane can see the other and follow a leader. The geese also follow a leader on their flights. A wise gander who knows the way perfectly day or night. The V formation is as good for them as it is for planes. There are 12 species of geese in North America, and practically all of them are winter visitors. The goose might be considered a Canadian bird. The geese are in the duck family, which also includes mergansers, tree ducks, dabbling ducks, swans, diving ducks, and ruddy ducks. Ducks have no problem living in icy water. Their outer coat of closely packed feathers is waterproof. A gland near the duck's tail secretes an oil which spreads over the feathers. Underneath this coat, a layer of thick down protects them further. Even the web feet of a duck are designed to protect them from the cold water. There are no nerves or blood in the web feet, so they don't feel the cold. The duck's feet and legs are set far back on the body, which helps them greatly in swimming. It can also account for the peculiar waddle when they walk. Most ducks build their nests on the ground, near water. They line the nest with delicate plants and with down from the duck's own breasts. A duck lays about 6 to 14 eggs. Ducks molt or shed their feathers after the breeding season. Since their wing quills are gone at this time, ducks cannot fly during their molting period. There are about 40 species of ducks in North America, and they are found on every continent except Antarctica.
Which birds lay the largest eggs?
When it comes to the size of egg, the ostrich is the champ. Ostrich eggs measure 6 to 7 inches in length and 5 to 6 inches in diameter. It has been found that an ostrich eggshell will hold from 12 to 18 hen's eggs. The ostrich has another strange quality for a bird. It cannot fly. In the air, the force of gravity is felt even more than when standing on the ground. This is because air gives little support to a creature's weight. Only small birds are able to fly by flapping their wings because very large breast muscles are needed for this purpose. A large bird does not have room for such muscles, and so the real giants among birds cannot fly at all. These include the ostrich, the rhea of South America, the emu of Australia, and a few others. All are much too heavy to fly. No bird can be truly a giant and still fly. The ostrich is the largest of all living birds. When full grown, it is 7 or 8 feet tall and weighs between 150 and 300 pounds. The ostrich is believed to be the fastest running bird. An ostrich can run from 28 to 37 miles per hour and can cover as much as 28 feet with each stride. The head and neck of the ostrich are nearly bare of feathers. Its legs are long with only 2 toes each. The plumage of the male is dark brown or black with white tail and wing plumes. The female is much smaller and duller colored.
Can birds talk?
There are a great many birds which can be taught to say a few words. Real talking birds can be taught to say long sentences. The best talking birds are parrots, mynas, crows, ravens, jackdaws, and certain jays. Most biologists believe birds do not understand the words they say, but can sometimes form an association between certain expressions and actions. The structure of a parrot's tongue is large and thick. Hawks and eagles have tongues like this, but they can't talk. Mynas, crows, and ravens don't have large tongues, but they can talk. It might be that parrots talk because their voice mechanism and hearing work more slowly than those of other birds. The sounds made by human beings resemble the sounds naturally made by parrots, so it is easy for them to imitate them. There are more than 600 species of parrots, limited almost entirely to the tropics. Parrots are common in southern Asia, North Africa, Australia, and the Malaysian Islands.
Why is the crow a harmful bird?
Crows are expert thieves. They steal the eggs in other birds' nests and carry off the young. The worst complaint against them is that they destroy crops. The crow is about 19 inches long, entirely black, including the feet and the bill.
What is a hummingbird?
The hummingbird is a small bird that gets its name from the humming sound made by its vibrating wings. It doesn't fly the way other birds do. Its wings move so rapidly that they cannot be seen clearly by the eye, so that when you look at a hummingbird hovering over a flower, it seems to be suspended in midair. When a hummingbird flies, it beats its wings at an average of about 55 strokes a second. The hummingbird had to develop this wing power because of its eating habits. It feeds on the nectar of flowers and on the tiny insects which are found in the center of flowers. But these flowers are usually so small and delicate that if the hummingbird tried to rest on them, the flower wouldn't support its weight. By beating its wings so rapidly, the hummingbird can stand still in the air and reach in with its beak to get the nectar and insects. The hummingbird has a long tongue that can be folded lengthwise to form a sucking tube. It sticks this tongue into flowers and sucks up the nectar, somewhat the way butterflies do. The ruby-throated hummingbird, which is found in the eastern part of the United States, is only about 3.5 inches long, including the bill. It builds a nest shaped like a cup that is only 1.5 inches wide.
How do penguins live?
Penguins live in the Antarctic, most of which is covered by deep snow and ice. During the Antarctic winter, February to October, the penguins live at sea. In October, which is their early spring, they come out of the sea and they start a long trek to their rookeries or breeding grounds. Ages ago, the penguin could fly as well as any other bird. Today, its wings are short flappers, of no value at all in flying. Penguins are wonderful swimmers and divers, and the wings make excellent paddles. Penguins have developed a thick coat of fat to protect them from the icy cold of the regions where they live.
What are owls?
The owl is a bird of prey. It has powerful needle-like talons or claws that it closes over its prey like the jaws of a trap. The owl hunts best at dawn or dusk or on moonlit nights. It can hear a mouse scamper over the ground many yards away. When an owl is listening from its hunting perch, it spreads out the feathers and skin which cover its ears. This forms a large funnel which collects even the faintest sound. After it locates the prey by sound, the owl attacks swiftly and directly on noiseless wings and captures its prey with talons. Owls eat mammals such as mice, squirrels, and rabbits. They also eat reptiles, frogs, birds, and even fish. They are better at catching mice than most man-made mouse traps. Many legends have grown up about the owl, and in England, it is referred to as the wise old owl. This is due to its appearance. Its great staring eyes seem to be looking at you as if the owl were thinking very hard. The eyeballs of the owl are elastic. It can open the pupil of its eyes very wide. This enables it to make use of all the night light there is. The owl's eyes are placed so that it has to turn its whole head to change the direction of its glance. The vulture is a large bird of prey. It belongs to the same order of birds as the falcons, hawks, and eagles. There are 5 types of vultures in the Americas: the turkey buzzard, black and king vulture, and the California and South American condor. All vultures feed on dead animals. They are very graceful in flight. When a vulture discovers a dead animal, it swoops down, is joined by other vultures, and the birds tear the animal apart with hooked beaks. Vultures have much better eyesight than humans. They can see things from great distances, but scientists still don't know how they can see and locate their prey so quickly.
What is the bald eagle?
The bald eagle is an American bird. It was named at a time when the word bald meant white or streaked with white. The adult bald eagle has white feathers on its head. Its tail is also white. The body and wings are dark brown, and the eyes, beak, and feet are yellow. An eagle is a bird of prey. It swoops down, picks up the prey in its talons, and flies off. An eagle, which weighs 8 to 12 pounds, may be able to carry off an animal weighing as much as 7 1/2 pounds. Eagles hunt only in the daytime. It is fond of fish and likes to live near water. The eagle also eats small animals such as rabbits or birds. Eagles keep the same mates year after year. They build their nests high in tall trees or on rocky ledges. An eagle may live as long as 30 years.
What is the difference between pigeons and doves?
The names pigeon and dove are interchangeable. There is no difference between them except that the name dove has come to be used to describe the smaller species. Pigeons are not gentle birds. At mating time, they often fight and fly at each other angrily.
Why do woodpeckers peck on trees?
When we hear a woodpecker peck on a tree, it is actually helping keep that tree alive. The woodpecker is an arboreal bird, which means that it lives in trees. It also eats in trees. Hidden in the crevices of the bark of trees are many insects. The woodpecker finds them with a kind of instinct, even when they cannot be seen on the outside. Then he drills a hole straight down to them and eats them. The woodpecker's beak is sharp and strong and has a chisel-shaped point. It also has an amazing tongue. The tongue is round and at the outer end has a hard tip with tiny barbs on the sides. Inside the beak, the tongue is curled up like a spring. The woodpecker is able to thrust that tongue quite some distance from the beak and go far down into the crevices of the bark.
Do swallows return to Capistrano on the same day?
For many years, newspapers have published stories about how the cliff swallows returned to Capistrano on March the 19th, not a day early or a day late. This is just a nice legend. While many birds migrate each year, No birds begin their migration schedule exactly on the same day each time. Many do come close to keeping a schedule, and that is how such legends get started.
Was there a bird called the dodo?
Hundreds of years ago on the island of Mauritius, there actually lived a bird we call the dodo. It couldn't fly, it couldn't run fast, and it had no instinct to fight or defend itself. It had a big round body, about twice as large as a turkey. Its legs were so short that it could hardly support its own weight. The tail of the dodo was only a little tuft of curly feathers, absolutely useless to it. The wings had become very small and couldn't function as wings at all. The dodo's head was very large and ended in an enormous hooked bill. The only way the dodo could move about was by waddling along slowly.
What is a rodent?
A rodent is any of the various related mammals, such as a mouse, rat, squirrel, or beaver, having teeth adapted for gnawing. Rats are one type of rodent. Rats weigh about 3/4 of a pound. They vary in color from gray to black-brown. They can be 19 inches long. A mouse is a rodent and is really a small rat. They usually live near dwellings. Their bodies are covered with fur, and they usually have hairy tails. There are more than 550 different species of mice in the world. It is believed that they first evolved in Central Asia. The mouse traveled to different parts of the world on ships and survived by eating the food that the sailors carried with them. Mice are often used in medical experiments. They are intelligent and can be trained for psychological tests. The smallest mouse is the European harvest mouse, and the largest is the field mouse. These rodents inhabit every continent in the world.
What is a gerbil?
There are about a dozen species of gerbils in the world. They are rodents and range in size between mice and rats. They are root and seed eaters, and they burrow underground. Gerbils mate several times a year and can have as many as 14 in each litter. Gerbils are desert dwellers in the world and are usually found in Africa and Asia. Gerbils are gentle animals, and they make good pets.
What is a guinea pig?
The guinea pig, whose real name is Cavy, is a related form of the rabbit and hare. Although the guinea pig is a rodent, the rabbit is not. The guinea pig was domesticated by early Indian tribes in South America. It was used for food. A guinea pig is about 10 inches long and weighs about 2 pounds. It has no tail. It has small, naked, rounded ears. The front feet have 4 toes, the hind feet only 3. Guinea pigs live on vegetables. They live in burrows and feed at dusk. Guinea pigs have litters of 2 to 8 or more. These gentle animals usually have 2 to 3 litters a year. They have been helpful to man in the development of medicines and medical treatment. Beavers are large rodents or gnawing animals. The beaver has 4 chisel-shaped front teeth called incisors. It uses these teeth to cut trees and bushes for food and for building dams. The beaver lives on wood, branches, saplings, and the roots of water plants. Beavers live in water and remain active all winter long. This means it needs water that will be deep enough that it won't freeze. So, a beaver builds a dam to raise the water level of the pond or stream in which it lives. Beavers cut trees and push them into shape. The floor is just above the water line and is covered with weeds or shredded wood. The entrances are all underwater. A dam is usually not more than 5 feet high, but may be several hundred to 1,000 feet long. Beavers eat only the inner bark of trees and bushes.
Are there squirrels in other countries?
There are squirrels in every part of the world except Australia. Squirrels may be as large as cats or as small as mice. Many squirrels live in the ground. All of them are friendly, chattering little animals with long bushy tails and bright beady eyes. Squirrels are rodents that are divided into 2 general groups: ground squirrels, such as woodchucks, chipmunks, and prairie dogs, and tree squirrels, like the red and gray squirrels, the fox and tuft-eared squirrels. Tree squirrels spend the winter in a hollow tree trunk lined with leaves and twigs. The flying squirrels live in warm parts of North America, Europe, and Asia. They usually sleep during the day. The belief that groundhogs can predict weather is an old one. The groundhog, also called the woodchuck or marmot, is a hibernating animal. It lives in a burrow during the winter months. Once the groundhog gets out of its burrow, it is supposed to look over the landscape. If the day is cloudy so that it can't see its shadow, it stays out. This is supposed to be a good sign. It means that the weather will be mild for the rest of the winter. If the groundhog sees its shadow because the day is clear, it goes back into its burrow to get some more sleep. According to tradition, this means that there will be 6 more weeks of winter. There is absolutely no reason why the groundhog should be able to predict the weather. It has no ability of any kind. Sometimes people will force a groundhog out of its home on February the 2nd, which is called Groundhog Day. The tradition was supposed to have originated in Europe concerning the hedgehog, but the Pilgrims transferred it to the groundhog when they came to this country.
What is a hamster?
The hamster is a fast reproducing mammal. The name comes from the German word hamstern, which means to hoard. It has a plump body and short limbs. The thick, soft fur is reddish gold on its back and grayish white on its belly. A hamster stuffs its large cheek pouches with food, which it then hoards in burrows or underground holes. Hamsters are cute pets, but they must be able to exercise or they will get a form of paralysis. A hamster cage should be equipped with an exercise wheel. If it doesn't have one, the hamster should be allowed out of the cage often to run and get its exercise. A wide range of subjects are available in this series now. Let's look at some of the questions that are covered in the Tell Me Why programs. Weather.
A tornado is a special kind of cyclone. It arises when conditions that cause ordinary thunderstorms are unusually violent. There is an updraft of air. There are winds blowing it.
Flowers.
A flower has a fragrance when certain essential oils are found in the petals. These oils are produced by the plant as part of its growing process.
Space.
Distances to the stars are so great that a unit for measuring distances was worked out. It's called a light year, and it is the distance that light travels in 1 year.
Water.
Water is a simple compound of 2 gases, hydrogen, a very light gas, and oxygen, a heavier active gas. When hydrogen is burned in oxygen, water is formed.
Gems.
When minerals are better, rarer, clearer, or more crystalline than others, they are called gems. Gems are the most prized and famous of all minerals. Diamonds, emeralds, rubies, and sapphires stand out as the true gems.
Ask for the additional volumes by subject from your dealer. They're available now.
We hope you've enjoyed this episode of Tell Me Why. And here are some of the other titles available in this award-winning series. Tell Me Why. All these videos have a suggested retail price of only $14.95 and are available in stores everywhere. Ask for them by name. From Prism Entertainment.
Yeah.